What's up, guys? It's Zilla with Zilla Mode. It's been a while since we last talked. I think the last time I made a video on this channel was when I was in the middle of doing the 365 project. And that's actually what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what happened with the 365 project, but I don't want to get into every detail in one video. I want to spread it out across multiple videos and explain what went wrong, what some of the results were, and what we can learn from this experience from a year ago. Because now enough time has passed to where I can look back at it and I can see like, okay, this worked, this didn't work, and some of the things that I had to fix. So just to give like quick context for those who don't know the 365 project, the goal with it was exactly what it sounds like, 365 songs in 365 days. So that's one song every single day for an entire year. At the time, that idea, it didn't come from me just wanting to do something crazy for no reason. I didn't want to just torture myself for no reason. I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to slowly die. No, a lot of it came from seeing AI music start to rise and become a more real reality and not really knowing like what that was going to mean for artists like myself. And I think there was a lot of fear in that, fear of the unknown, fear of where music was headed and how I was going to fit in that industry. Fear of how like people were going to start using AI in a high capacity. Just the sheer volume was going to become the thing that was eventually going to win. And I don't know if I was going to be able to compete with that. So I kept thinking about that over and over again. And the thought occurred to me, like if you used AI to pump out songs every single day for an entire year, what happens if you do that? Like, does Spotify reward that? Would the algorithm just respond to the volume alone? Would that kind of like nonstop output actually work? And then I had this thought that kind of was stupid now that I think about it, that kind of started this whole mess, which was like, well, what if I actually tried to do it myself? But not with AI. That probably would have been smarter actually now that I think about it. But I mean like for real, like actually writing the songs, recording them, mixing them, organizing them, releasing them, doing the visuals, all of it. Basically just trying to see if like me as a real artist that created at the level that I was could keep up with that kind of pace that AI could do and somehow like make it work. So yeah, a lot of this came from fear, but also it came from curiosity. And honestly, probably my ego as well in a way. I wanted to know if like I had the willpower to do it and actually like pull it off. Like it happens every once in a while. It's part of my ADHD where I just focus in on something that's like, I have to prove to myself that I can do this. I have to prove to everybody else that I can do it. And it's like, dog, we didn't even question whether or not you should do it. It's more of like, or that you could do it. It's more of like, should you do it? I wanted to know if I could actually pull something off that extreme. It wasn't even about everybody else. It was just trying to prove that to myself. And at first, it felt really exciting because I am versatile enough to make a lot of different types of music. So creatively, I never felt like I was completely trapped in like a box musically. I mean, I could jump to different sounds, different topics, different fan bases because I was making like nerdcore. So it's like pop culture stuff. So I could make a song about this character or this show or this movie or this video game. And it made me feel like I had a shot at doing something that was this ridiculous. But once I got really going with it, it became more than just making songs. It was the writing, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the making the cover arts, which was a whole other thing, organizing the lyrics, organizing like scheduling the music in general, making the videos. I was making videos for all of them, managing all the release stuff, like trying to keep everything scheduled and like consistent and focus on everything at once. It was like a constant workload that would never like really let up. And it didn't just affect me, it affected my family too, because when you're trying to compete with something that feels endless, your work starts to become endless too. Like there's always one more song to finish. There's always one more thing to upload, one more video to edit, one more thing to release, and prepare. And even when you're physically there, mentally, you're still in that mode. You're still locked into the work that you have to get done. So I couldn't really focus on anything else, which is already kind of like a thing that goes on with me, like not doing this project. So it just heightened that even more. Like thinking about the next task was like always on my mind. Like the next deadline, the next song, everything was always on my mind. And that affected the people around me because it takes like a lot out of you to live like that. Even like friends, like I couldn't even like really have time to talk to friends or play video games or go do anything out in public. It really changes your energy. It changes like how present you actually are. And I think that's part of like what gets lost when people talk about quote unquote the grind. It's never just you paying for that. Like it's the people close to you that feel it too. And that's a big reason I look back on this differently now. Back then I was thinking, well, I was looking at it like it was a challenge, like a test, like something I needed to prove. But now I can see more clearly that it was costing so much more while I was in the middle of it. And the other thing, the results just didn't really justify it in the end. I'm not going to go super deep into all the numbers in this video, but the short version, yeah, the project did millions of streams, I guess, technically across like all the songs. And there were a few songs that came out of it that still did decent. So it wasn't like nothing happened, but like when you spread that across 150 songs and compare it to the amount of work that really went into all of it, it just wasn't worth it. So that's when I really started realizing that not only was I putting an insane amount of pressure on myself, not only was it like affecting my family and my friends and the way that I was showing up in my actual life, but the payoff wasn't even matching the level of sacrifice that I was making. And that's where the whole thing really started to shift for me, because I went into it thinking maybe the answer to this new era was to outwork it. But like if the music is becoming more disposable and more volume driven, maybe I can beat that by just being more disciplined than everybody else. But what I really learned is that trying to compete with that kind of pace actually can put you away from the things that make your music matter in the first place. And talking about this in terms of 365 songs in 1 year versus even if that feels like that pressure feels like that, like just releasing a song a week and it's making you feel like that and you feel like you're just putting out slop, then maybe you need to experience, or maybe you're probably experiencing the same thing that I've been going through with this project or did go through at the beginning of last year. And what I think with the lesson that we're learning is that songs need that room to breathe. They need not only room to breathe in the release, but like room to breathe in ways that, you making them, they need time. They need support. They need that reason for people to care about them, but you to care about them. And when you're dropping constantly, everything starts blurring together. Even if the songs are good, people don't experience them like events anymore. Like even though it was like a huge event for me in my life, how it came off to everybody else, like a lot of people didn't even realize that I was even doing it. And when they did realize that I was doing it, they were just like, this is crazy. And when you really dive into the songs, it's like, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see like how you're doing this, And when I started realizing that trying to beat that AI, copying the one thing that it does best, that endless output is probably one of the worst things that I could do as a real artist. And it probably was one of the worst mistakes that I ever made as an artist and as in my music career, because that's not like where I win as an artist. Like we don't win by becoming better robots than the robots. We win by being human in a way that means something. We have better taste for the time. We have better timing. Well, maybe not better timing, but maybe we know what the better time is to release something, for example, or how to release something, what to make, better songs, better moments, create a better connection. That's the advantage that we have as humans. So the original goal was that 365 days and 365 songs, but a big reason that I chased that was because I was scared of where things were going. I was curious about whether I could do it. And honestly, I was obsessed with finding out what would happen if I pushed myself that far. Like, that's just how my brain works. But do I regret it? No. Even if it didn't give me the results that I did get, or it didn't give me the results that I wanted, at the end of the day, I learned a lot from it. And now I know. And for me, it backfired. And I think we'll get into that and how it backfired in a lot of different types of ways in other videos. But it wasn't because I wasn't capable of working hard enough. It wasn't because of the amount of work, the pressure, the effect on my life. It was just because, at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense. It didn't line up the way that it needed to in my life that made sense for me to continue doing it. And that's why I only made it to 150 songs. So I want to know what you guys think about this whole project and what I shared with you guys today. But I also want to ask if you guys have any questions about specific things that I talked about in this video, or things that you want to know more about what happened in this whole experiment. And we're going to do more videos. This is going to be a series of videos that I'm going to be doing on the channel about this. So let me know down in the comments what questions you guys got. And until the next video, Zilla out.